Okay, so we are ready for World War III. Literally, not kidding. This is what is going to be happening next, unless this man he decides not to go with his nuclear weapon. Let's take a listen at this report first from Sky News.
There's been a lot of discussion about the use of these ATACMS missiles that the US has provided for Ukraine and allowed them to use inside Russia. Well, we're hearing from Russian sources the debris of one ATACMS missile fell on the territory of a military facility inside Russia in the Bryansk region. This is coming from the Russian Defense Ministry via RIA. The Russian anti-missile system apparently downed 5 out of 6 of these missiles. And the Russian Defense Ministry says Ukraine hit Russia with these missiles. Let's bring in our security.
Okay, let's talk about this. Ukraine fired 6 ATACMS missiles supplied by US, made by US, operated by US into Russia. 6 of them. 5 got intercepted by Russian defense system. 1 hit Russian region, I believe is Bryansk, or I don't remember the name exactly. But the point here is that this is what Putin said that he will do if this happens, if Russia is hit by these missiles supplied by US. Let's take a listen to what Putin said.
In the updated version of the document, aggression against Russia by any non-nuclear state, but with the support of a nuclear state, is proposed to be considered as their joint attack on Russia. Russia will also consider the possibility of using nuclear weapons when receiving reliable information about a massive launch of means of aerospace attack and their crossing of our state border. In the updated version of the
Okay, so basically it means that Putin, he already updated the doctrine for nuclear weapon usage, and under that doctrine it basically means that if what happened with the country of Russia when they were hit by this US ATACMS missiles fired from Ukraine, they will go to war with any country, not just NATO, but also non-NATO countries, whoever will be supporting these countries, NATO countries. Of course, he is going to be also using these nuclear weapons. Now, he already supplied tactical nuclear weapons and he stationed them in Belarus. That happened back in the year 2022. So they are all ready to be launched on countries like Poland. But what is even worse, he's now saying, according to his doctrine, if he gets hit, then it would mean that he is under attack by both US and NATO. And this is so logical. If you think about this, if Russia was doing this with US and they supplied weapon to countries like Cuba to hit US's assets, US military bases, what US would do if they were coming under attack just like Russia was? They would definitely retaliate, and retaliate really, really harshly. Now, according to this report, Russia's updated nuclear doctrine states that aggression against it or its allies by a non-nuclear state supported by a nuclear one will be treated as a joint attack. The doctrine emphasizes Russia's readiness to use nuclear weapons to ensure deterrence and permits their use if the sovereignty or territorial integrity of Russia or Belarus is critically threatened. Ballistic missiles launches against Russia are listed as grounds for nuclear retaliation, and the doctrine identifies adversaries against whom nuclear deterrence is exercised. Providing territory or resources for aggression against Russia is also considered basis for nuclear deterrence. Again, as I said, it could be a NATO member or a non-NATO member. It doesn't matter who you are. If you support US and NATO members to launch attack on Russia, you will be also targeted, and that's what came from Putin. Now, this is what also coming on X, on Twitter. They are now Russian building this kind of shelters. Russia is mass producing mobile shelters that protect people from nuclear radiation, quote unquote. What a dangerous world we live in. The Russian people are getting ready, looks like, according to this post, and they are getting ready for a very long time. Now they have this kind of shelters to protect themselves from nuclear, those radiation. Now the only person who can save this from the complete annihilation of the humanity right now is this person, Donald Trump. Let's see what he is saying here.
We have never been closer to World War III than we are today.
Okay, so basically the audio is not really great, but definitely what he is saying is this: I'm hereby calling on Putin and Zelensky to meet with me and get this terrible war between Russia and Ukraine solved. We have never been closer to a nuclear war than we are right now. We must stop the killing and prevent World War III. This is what Scott Reeder, all of these military analysts, are hoping that Putin will stop using nuclear weapon. Putin will not target European countries, including US, because of Donald Trump, if he promises him something. But again, this is not about Putin anymore. Sorry, not Donald Trump anymore. He will be in office, and it will be from now, it will be more than 60 days. So I don't think Putin will be waiting. And thanks to these two morons in White House, this senile guy who is aging, he knows he's not going to be living for too many years. He's already how many years old? Already 85, 84, I don't know. But he's very, very old. And obviously this other moron doesn't have anything to say to stop him from using nuclear weapon. I mean, obviously this pathetic lady lost it, so she would not have any problem if the whole world is getting blown up by those nuclear weapons. Man, this is a situation, a very dangerous one. Let's take a listen to what Scott Reeder is saying. He appeared on George Galloway's show. Let's see what he's saying.
Former U.S. government officials who called him at the behest of the Biden administration that the consequences will not be limited to Europe. If the United States believes that it can hide behind the Atlantic Ocean and not worry about the conflict spilling over, they are wrong. War will come to America. War will come in the form of Russian nuclear weapons, and American cities will be destroyed. So why did Biden do this at this time? There's only one reason. He was told by his intelligence officials that Russia is bluffing, that Russia will do nothing, that this is the time to escalate because Russia is banking on, Trump coming in and changing the calculus. And so Biden is seeking to firm up the algorithm of war, of confrontation, of escalation before Trump comes in.
Absolutely pathetic what Biden is doing in Gaza, in Palestine, and now in Ukraine. Absolutely pathetic. I don't know. I mean, are we going to wake up tomorrow? I don't know. Because by the look of it, as Putin said, if Russia is under attack, if they're hit with this US-made weapon ATACMS coming from Ukraine, we are going to retaliate with nuclear weapon. And they have just updated their nuclear doctrine. Man, I mean, this is World War III alert. Unfortunately, this is where we are right now. Let's take a listen a little bit more. Oh my God.
I believe that Biden is sadly mistaken and that we will see a Russian reaction. And here's the irony of it all. The only hope the world has now is that Donald Trump sends a signal that he will not allow this escalation to stand, that when he becomes president, this all comes to an end, therefore giving Russia the chance to limit its response so that it could be peace. Otherwise, Russia will respond, and I believe that we are going to immediately find ourselves in a cycle of violence that could very well lead to nuclear war. This is what I was warning everybody about in the lead up to the election. George, I know where your heart is. It's where my heart is, in Gaza, crying out for the blood being spilt, the genocide being committed. There's no forgiving Israel for what they have done, and there will be no forgiving. But in order to even contemplate forgiveness, we have to be alive. And I have said that the number one issue facing every citizen in the world today is the existential threat of nuclear war. We have somehow lost got our eye off the bubble.
Okay, when George Galloway he met Putin in Kazan in Russia for the BRICS summit, he saw something in Putin that he believes told him, non-verbal cue, that Russian Putin, Vladimir Putin, was not bluffing as Keir Starmer and Biden tend to think. And this is what is terrifying to me because of the statement made by George Galloway. He said it. He said, I saw Putin was not bluffing and I saw Putin was going to use the nuclear weapon if he's under attack. Wow.
Somehow Joe Biden believes that this is the right decision to make. He and his suicidal advisors have literally condemned us all to death. And now we're in the worst possible position because we have to hope that Russia does the right thing at a time when the United States is authorizing Ukraine, which invaded Kursk, by the way, with American assistance, American planning, American equipment, invaded Russia, and now we're going to use American missiles to defend the Ukrainian forces that have dug in there. And also, we have to pray that Donald Trump shows absolute disregard for the Logan Act and challenges the Biden administration to do something about statements I pray Donald Trump makes. Statements that says, Ukraine is finished when I come in now. If Ukraine takes this escalation, we are done. Trump ran on a platform of peace. Trump ran on a platform that said we don't want to escalate. Trump ran on a platform that said we seek to normalize relations with Russia, not escalate a conflict with Russia. And Joe Biden has just said, the hell with the will of the American people. I'm going to do this anyways, even though I only have 2 months left in office. I'm going to take the whole world down with my senile self. This is unacceptable. But
Absolutely.
we're in a very difficult position.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a guy who is, I don't know, he's not being guided by the right people. He doesn't know what he's doing. Joe Biden doesn't have any clue. He doesn't remember anything what he did 5 minutes ago. So it is very easy for the military-industrial complex to convince him to allow Ukraine to fire at Russia with U.S.-made weapons. We're living, I don't know. This is so, oh man, we are doomed. I mean, we are doomed.
Because Russia has every right to respond. And Donald Trump, who knows what he's going to do? I say this on your show in hopes that people who have input into the Trump administration listen and call and beg Donald Trump to immediately make a statement condemning Joe Biden's actions. That could save the world. That is the only hope we have. And I just remind people who say, well, Scott, your hope is, where are you getting this hope? I will say this. During the campaign, I reached out to the Trump administration.
Okay, so I actually want to show or play this video a little bit more of this missile attack on Russia by Ukraine. Let's take a listen from Sky News.
Defense editor Deborah Haynes, who joins us from Rio de Janeiro, where the G20 is taking place. Deborah, the fact that we knew that Ukraine were going to be able to use these missiles in a slightly different way, was certainly with a further reach. This perhaps comes as no surprise. The fact that Russia says that these missiles have been used, can we believe them here?
Well, the Ukrainian military said earlier today that it did launch an attack against Russian targets in the Bryansk region. They have not confirmed the use of these Army tactical missile system, ATACMS ballistic missiles, the weapon system that the US has supplied to Ukraine and has now given permission to Ukraine to use beyond its borders inside Russia. But that should be no surprise. What benefit does it give to Ukraine to confirm the use of these weapons? The only way that they want to demonstrate their use is by actually firing them. So it is worth listening to what the Russian Defense Ministry is claiming, and according to Russian reports, it's saying that the Ukrainians have fired 6 of these ATACMS missiles into Russian territory claiming that 5 were shot down. One, therefore, clearly got through. It'd be interesting to understand the extent of the damage caused by these missiles. But the actual tactical use of the systems is one thing. The strategic response from Russia could well be another.
Absolutely. What Putin will do next, as I said, he was not bluffing, as Scott Ritter said he was not bluffing when he said that any attack on us supplied U.S. weapons to Ukraine will be an attack from NATO and also from U.S. as a whole on Russia. Guys, take a listen to what George Galloway is saying here.
And I sent a message asking them to commit publicly Trump platform regardless of anything, because they believe Russia is bluffing. Russia is not bluffing. This is the most dangerous situation we have been in since the Cuban Missile Crisis. Everybody watching your show right now, say a prayer, because this could get out of control very fast.
Wow. Take a listen to what
very quickly, and I think I may have been the last Westerner to sit with Putin in Kazan at the BRICS just a couple of weeks ago when this question was raised. And I've looked him in the eye. This is the third time I've met him. I've looked him in the eye before. I never saw a more clear, resolute statement of fact when he reiterated what you've just said, that a state of war will exist between NATO and Russia if this decision is taken.
Okay, so again, George Galloway is confirming what Scott Ritter said, and coming from these two gentlemen who has a lot of sense, very smart, very intelligent people, is not something we can disregard or ignore. George Galloway and Scott Ritter, both of them agree that what we are heading to right now, where we are heading to, is a World War III, guys. I don't know how to describe this situation, but it is scary. It is very, very scary. I'm worried about my family. My parents, they live in the States. I'm worried about everyone. I'm worried about the humanity. We are at a brink right now. In the next moments, next few hours, if we don't hear Russia using nuclear weapon, we'll be very, very lucky. But guys, let me know in the comment section below what you think. This is very, very scary, very dangerous situation at the moment.